Hello guys, I hope you are all will be fine. So we discussed about the part 2 of the module 1 in the previous videos, and this video will discuss about the part 3 of the module 1. Part 3 is why interview is required, follow-up techniques inside having 4 section. Section 1 about needed of interview knowledge. Section 2 flowchart of the interview required details. Section 3 explanations of the flowchart on interview approaches. And section 4 is technical steps of communication skills. So today in this video, we look into the part 3 of the module 1 section, and we'll move to the next video. Next slide. This is a part 3 of the module 1, why interview is required, follow-up techniques. Section 1 about needed of interview knowledge. So interview skills are an important part of any evaluations of knowledge and identify the depth of the particular skills or knowledge. The interviewer will recognize you with the help of your expertise in the field of technology or any specific area. The interviewer will not focus on the other skills which are not matched with their requirement. Hence, the important will be very clear to cross-verify the ability of the candidature of the skills. So, the interview who is attending the interview, he should have a clear understanding of the skills of their abilities. If the interviewee has no expertise in a specific area, then she may be difficult to clear the interview. So section 1 about the needed of interview knowledge. It is basically talking about that the candidate should know that the requirement of the company. Suppose if the candidate is not knowing the requirement of the candidate, it may happen the ability skills will not match the requirement of the company. So candidate should make sure that to know that what is the job description of the organization. If he is knowing that JD means job descriptions, then he will be able to perform his duty in the organization very well. Because in the interview panel, any organization hiring the employee, even though candidate will clear the interview, but the work assigned to the employee and he will not be able to do the job, then it will be difficult to the organizer who has performed the interview to hire the candidate. So in this case, what will happen? The criteria, the requirements are not matched with the candidate and interview panel. Hence, it will be difficult to survive by the candidate in the organization. So we'll move to the next slide for the section 2 flowchart of the interview required details. The left side we see interviewer and right side is candidate and interview round to check skills and knowledge. So the checkings will be happened by the interviewer. Check means their skills, their knowledge, their capabilities of the candidate to be proceed to verify, to evaluate by the interviewer. Section 3 is talking about explanation of the flowchart on interview approaches. The interviewer will observe the way of speaking and how the explanation is to be delivered in a precise way of the asked questions from the interviewer. The candidate must listen properly to the questions asked by the interviewer to make sure the answer is correct towards the relevant questions. The candidate can be rejected if the related answers are not matched with the required questions. So basically what happened in the real-time scenario was the interview panel, they will ask the questions to the candidate, and what will happen, the candidate will be very hurry to speak and hurry to deliver his or her answer quickly to the interview panel, but what actually happened between that, the answers will not be relevant to the particular questions asked by the interview panel. So once this will be identified by the interview panel, it will be sure that the candidate will be rejected by the interview panel. So it is make sure that the candidate should listen the question properly before answering the questions. So we will move to the next slide. Section 4, technical steps of communication skills. So they are following, candidate must explain in below way for their skills or knowledge. The speaking should be in precise and accurate explanations, meaning that the candidate should be explained in a short and accurate to the point to deliver his answer to the interview panel. Second point is the knowledge should be the relevant to the expertise area. Whatever the candidate having the skills, it should be relevant, means respected to the requirement of the organization to meet the requirement between the candidate and organization. Point 3 is the skills should be practiced before attending the interview for the requirement applied. Meaning the candidate should be revised or practiced the important points which could be asked the questions from the interviewer. Point 4 is the candidate to deliver the speech confidently. The most of the time, the candidate will answer in the front of interview panel without confidence. He will be very confused while speaking in front of the interview panel. He will tell, I know, I do not know, not sure. So it identifies that you are not confidently to the particular topic or subject, which can be lead to rejected by the interview panel. Question number point is 6. Be calm and cool while explaining your skills or knowledge. Point 6 is telling that once the interview panel is asking you any questions, that time you should listen the questions properly and making a between just for 1 and 2 seconds for pause and delivering your answer very accurately and confidently in the front of interview panel. Point number 7, the topic or skills to be revised before attending the interview. Most of the time, candidate will forget the actual definitions, or you can say exact features or the point of the subject, which can lead rejected by the interview panel. So next we'll be looking the next slide. So end of this part 3 of the module 1. So part 3 was why interview is required, follow-up techniques, and also we have looked into the section 1 about needed of interview knowledge, section 2 flowchart of the interview required details, section 3 explanation of the flowchart on interview approaches, section 4 technical steps of communication skills. So we have covered part 3 of the module 1. So we will go for next video for the module 2 of the part 1. Thank you.